Donald Trump always saw this as a political fan club more than he saw it as a movement. Now that it has to transition into becoming a political movement, you're finding people have opposing views who are serious about political movements. They may be diametrically opposed to everything I believe in, but they believe in things, and now they don't have the star there turning them into a fan club that makes the discussions about what we really believe in not have to happen. Now they're beginning to happen.
Can we please get somebody to diagram that sentence? Al, can you go to the board and please diagram what the hell you just said? It's exhausting trying to keep up with wherever Sharpton's trying to go. And no, I won't give him any clerical designation because I don't think he's part of any clergy. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant. Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to you and yours. I know. We're all on a crazy schedule. Things will happen today that will put you off your schedule, but guess what? It's going to work out. Santa's already on his way. I checked the radar. They're already tracking Santa Claus, which is great, isn't it? Yeah, that was Al Sharpton. Don't understand how he still has any kind of pull in the media. But then again, he must have some kind of file of photographs on the network executives. It's all the grift. Speaking of MS-13 now, my microphone is going wonky today. My mic just fell off its stand, so excuse me for the noise there. I got to figure out what the heck's going on here. Might have to hold this during the break. Speaking of MS-13 now, earlier today, Scarborough appeared to melt down on the MS-13 now airwaves. He's losing it, proclaiming pure communism is happening in the Trump administration. Seriously. Joe Scarborough, recently on MSNBC, MS-13 now.
We're going to get to Grandpa playing football last night, but before we do, the New York Post, Communist Party. Now, they've got Mamdani. Yeah. They've got AOC. They're converting, but they don't have Donald Trump, who said the largest communist takeover of any company in decades, with seizing 10% of Intel, seizing control of other companies. It wants to invade Venezuela to seize their oil. I mean, that is just pure. You know, Tony Montana had pure cocaine that he moved around Miami. I mean, Donald Trump's seizure of these companies, pure communism.
Pure communism. That's what he's calling it. No, the United States government now has a stake in Intel to bolster the domestic chip production. And Scarborough and the MS-13, now people like to refer to this as a communist takeover. Interesting. And how does suddenly the Tony Montana, the Scarface reference, he knows that was a movie, right? He knows that was fiction, that was entertainment. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. He also is critical of the blockade of the Venezuelan oil tankers. Well, the oil was sanctioned by the previous administration, was it not? Just because the Trump administration chooses to actually enforce the sanctions doesn't mean they're not important. Interesting. The sanctions are out there. Trump enforces them. When Biden sanctions people, they took credit for doing the paperwork, but they never did the heavy lifting. Remember, Biden told us the border was secure. Well, it wasn't until the border was secure under Trump. Really funny to watch it. I do enjoy watching them melt down a little bit. Just a little. It's a guilty pleasure for me. Yesterday, we opened the Chris Plant Show talking about the latest document dump as it relates to the Jeffrey Epstein files. And there have been a couple of really interesting twists and turns in the Jeffrey Epstein files and the document dumps. And I complimented our friends over at MRC and the Newsbusters earlier, and they have tabulated how much coverage has been dedicated to covering the Epstein files by the major networks, ABC, CBS, NBC. 1,033 minutes. Almost choked on that number. And yesterday, there was considerable time spent talking about this note, a handwritten note, alleged to be from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar, two awful human beings. And nobody decided to investigate the legitimacy of this note until after they had already gone up and tried to smear Trump with it. Because remember, in the handwritten note signed by a J. Epstein, there was a reference to our president also appreciates the company of young girls as well. And so CNN and others were quick to smear President Trump and say, see, he's tied in with Nassar and Epstein, see? And nobody looked at the postmark on the note. It was 3 days after Epstein, or before Epstein was dead. 3 days before, Epstein had been dead for 3 days by the time this note was postmarked. And then somebody said, well, let's look at the handwriting. It doesn't match Epstein's handwriting. The DOJ said that the document dump that had been put out, because it had been ordered to put out this massive document dump, did contain many fake claims. Some loads of Bravo Sierra had been included in there. And apparently CNN, which spent easily an hour yesterday talking about this claim, they kept posting pictures of this note. And then, about 2 hours later, the DOJ said, you know that's garbage, right? Well, they're still posting it. This morning they did it again. Never miss an opportunity to smear your opponents. Also an update, yesterday we played a few clips from the Hunter Biden interview with Sean Ryan. And this was a lengthy interview. This is one of those giant multi-hour sit-downs that I'm getting to be a little exhausted by all of these interview podcasts that go on for hours and hours and hours. I might actually agree with Kamala Harris when she said she couldn't sit down with Rogan because it was just too long. It's getting to be a little bit much. We're pushing it. But Hunter, in this interview with Sean Ryan, keeps coming up with great little moments. Yesterday we played for you that Hunter Biden now sounds like a Republican when talking about the border and people coming here illegally and how he wants American citizens to be taken care of before we take care of people who broke into the country. Yeah, that kind of sounds like what we've been saying for, 10 years since Donald Trump came down the escalator, for God's sakes. But Hunter, who got a presidential pardon from his father just before his dad left office, despite the fact that Joe Biden kept saying he was never going to pardon his son. But Hunter got a pardon, and it may have been one of the only pardons that Joe Biden actually signed with his own hand. It's the only one that's different. But Hunter had a little bit of an interesting and different take on presidential pardons, and I found this to be funny.
Who ultimately seems to be benefiting?
Well, I can tell you who's not benefiting.
Not normal people.
Yeah.
Not regular guys, not the guys you served with, not the guys that I went to high school with, not the, nobody that I know. The people that are benefiting are the people that seem to always, some way, avoid the consequences and win.
So the people who get the benefit, who would those people be? Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to see this guy sit there and talk about the people who always get taken care of, who always get helped out by their powerful friends, when he's the guy who was certainly facing serious time behind bars for the gun charges, the tax charges, whatever other charges he was facing. And suddenly he gets a pardon from his dad at the last minute and doesn't see that he is exactly who he is whining about. It truly is wonderful. It's wonderful to see. I so thank all of the elements putting this together for us. Well done. Yeah, Hunter Biden, he's not to be believed. You're welcome to join us today. We're talking about several things, these hot topics du jour, but we're also nominating songs that need to go away, Christmas songs that are overplayed. I think we're saturated at one point to say, okay, enough. Some of these songs need to take a hiatus. Mike is calling from Kansas, joining the Chris Plante Show. Mike, welcome. What's on your mind?
Merry Christmas, Mike.
Merry Christmas.
I would like to nominate the Little Drummer Boy to be eliminated forever.
Really? You're
My
not?
wife-
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No room for the. What's wrong with the Little Drummer Boy?
Well, if my wife was resting after just going through hours of labor and childbirth, and we had just gotten the kid to sleep, and some kid came around beating on a drum, well, that kid would be going home with that drum as a necklace.
Nice, interesting twist on the birth of the Christ child, and suddenly a kid shows up with a drum, and you're in a manger. You're out behind the building. You're in with the donkeys and the horses and the sheep, and you're trying to get the baby asleep in a little bed of straw, and here comes a kid with a drum. Well done, Mike. I didn't see that one coming that way. Nicely done, sir. Merry Christmas to you. Very good. Let's go to another Mike in Georgia. Hello, Mike. Welcome to the Chris Plante Show.
Hello, Michael. Good to talk to you. I love it when you fill in for Chris. I think I would hope that my station out of Chattanooga would get you here. Several things. I'm in Georgia, and we were taken to the laundry by the 2020 thing, and I watched the results that night, and everybody knew that Trump was winning. Until at 2:30 in the morning, they finally recounted everything and stuffed the ballot boxes. They say, "Oh, but we counted them 100 times." You can count a counterfeit bill 100 times; it's still a counterfeit bill. And I loved your idea about re-registration for both voting and naturalization. I think it's a great idea, and I hope you continue to push that. That's my first point. Second, the drug votes. I'm all for it. Take them down. My only criticism comment would be next time go ahead and drop some cages down there to the survivors, assuming we have survivors, and fill it with some of these drugs and tell the survivors, now, if you want to come up, go ahead and fill that cage up, and then we'll bring you up. If you don't put those drugs in there, you can swim back to wherever you came from. And then present that to the American people, say, look, we told you, here's the proof. That's the only criticism I've had thus far. And last but not least,
Michael, let me see.
Good idea, bad idea.
Let me see if I understand this. You're saying, okay, the interdiction against the narco-terror boats, when we hit them with the ordinance, we dropped the little bomb on them there, the little shot to take out the boat. And if there's anybody left surviving, and if there are any drugs floating around, we should drop some cages for them to have them put the remaining contraband in those cages, and then we'll let them hang on, and we'll take them and send them to court and charge them with trying to import drugs. Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure I grasp it totally.
In essence, because even though I'm confident in our intelligence gathering, that's the only potential criticism. Well, I'm an old journalist myself. It's like, well, we still don't have any actual proof. I want to see some evidence here. And, okay, I'm sure it's there. I just think it would help our case.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I understand now, yeah. Interesting. I wonder, I just have been thinking about this now. We've blown up so many boats. I wonder who makes those boats and the engines. I wonder if those are American companies that are now going to have renewed business from some of these cartels. They got to buy more boats because all their boats are getting blown up. I'm joking. I'm not pushing for that. But it's one of those, I think that's another 80-20 issue for the president, for the administration, that the elimination of the narco-terrorists is ultimately going to be a positive issue that we will ultimately win on, trying to paint these people as victims. But now let's talk about your state. And I will continue pushing the idea that we should do a complete re-registration of Americans. And maybe we have to take it because, the 10th Amendment, et cetera. The states will have to decide on their own. But a federal election registration could be something we have to do overall. It's going to be a legal challenge. But we got time. We got a few more years of this administration. So I'm going to keep harping about that. And if we're doing the mid-decade census, let's do that and get on that. And one quick question. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Grinch or not?
Well, I voted for her in her primary, against her, and then I voted for her. I voted against her in the primary and then for her in the general. And I liked her at first. She was a loose cannon. We needed that, much like Trump. But she's kind of gone overboard here and there, and I'm still trying to. I wish she had moxied up. And
I have some thoughts. I'm up against the clock, but I'll share some thoughts. Thank you for joining us, Mike. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on The Chris Plant Show. It is The Chris Plant Show. It's Christmas Eve, too. What are you doing? Is Bob Cratchit running around the streets getting a goose in your neighborhood? It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant. And I'm not running around getting a goose, but I do have things to do right after the show. And also, I have to offer the airwaves to one of you in this great Chris Plant audience, calling it 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. Michael in Springfield, Virginia, would like to stand up for the little drummer boy. Hello, Michael.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, sir.
I'll get right to it.
Okay.
The little drummer boy asks Mary if he can play for Jesus, and she nods yes. And at the end of it, Jesus smiles at him after he plays. So his argument for removing the little drummer boy is invalid.
I love this audience so much. we had another
little drummer boy. Half the time I hear it, I start tearing up. No other Christmas song hits me like that. I don't know why. So since I was a kid. So.
It's been one of the favorites of mine as well, but I never thought of it as so offensive until the previous detractor called and said, we got to get rid of it. And then you bring up the point. He asked permission, and the baby smiled at the end. Well done, Michael. Well done. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Thank you, sir. Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on The Chris Plant Show. It is The Chris Plant Show. Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Mike Opelka with you. Sitting in for my friend Chris Plant on this, the 339th day of Donald Trump 2.0. It's amazing to think this year has gone by so quickly, isn't it? And so many things appear to be lining up to make the next year even better. I hope so. I sincerely hope so. I sincerely hope that the second year of the second Trump administration will be even more successful. It's going to require a bunch of things happening all at the same time. And a lot of it relates to the economy. We saw the GDP numbers come out yesterday. Big surprise to the upside. The left is trying to figure it out, but it looks like there may be a significant bit of momentum building underneath the economy. That combined with the lower fuel costs, as we now see the price, I mentioned this earlier, the price of a barrel of oil is cheaper than an ounce of silver. And the barrel of oil has a greater effect on the cost to the average person like you and me than the price of silver does. Silver's important, but it's not nearly as important as the price of oil. We're still tied to it, both in energy and delivery of food, etc. So hopefully we'll be seeing the reduction in those food costs going forward as well. Many things I want to try and make sure we get to in this last half hour together. You're always welcome to join me at 888-630-9625. We've talked about which Christmas song needs to go away. There was an interesting argument in the last half hour about we need to get rid of the Little Drummer Boy, but then there was an argument on behalf of the Little Drummer Boy. So we'll see what happens. A couple of really interesting bits of news that have popped and I don't think got enough attention. I was asking Michael Piercy if his son, Maximilian, has a drone. Because, a lot of young people have the drones. A lot of older people have the drones. I have a little bitty drone that I use. And Michael said no. And I brought it up because there was a move made just a day and a half ago. The FCC has blocked drones that come to this country from other countries. The FCC has said no mas to the drones, and I think specifically looking at China. Because, let's face it, the drones actually have the ability to connect to the internet. They connect to Wi-Fi, etc. I know my little bitty drone, it's tiny. It's like 6 by 6 by 1.5 inches tall. It's just a little bitty drone, follows me around, takes videos or pictures as I need them from the skies. Because, of course, you need them. But by cutting off these drones, these are for new drones. If you're purchasing a drone, you might be careful. And I think this is interesting. It is labeled on the FCC documents. Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau announces addition of uncrewed aircraft systems, drones, uncrewed aircraft systems, and critical components and equipment and services listed. So this is a ban of uncrewed aircraft systems. I didn't realize that's what we were calling drones. But this is all about national security. Very interesting. I'm worried about China getting a hold of a lot of our information, and I hadn't thought about drones as being a point at which we need to be worried about. I worry about the cranes at the ports that have the cameras connected to China. I worried about a lot of the cameras. The cameras, they're called flock cameras that are now, if you want to understand some of that, it's really kind of scary. The flock cameras are in every major metropolitan area. They're small solar-powered traffic cameras that monitor pretty much every major intersection, bridge, road, etc. And they're all interconnected through a major center in Georgia. And they can really move information around quickly, and by using artificial intelligence can connect to each other, and they tell us they're going to solve problems. I also think we have to be concerned about our own personal privacy and security and information, et cetera, et cetera. But the flock camera situation, one of the concerns I have going forward. Not to get off on a weird tangent, but that was just one of those moments that came up. But the dropping of the drones, you can't go by. I wonder if this is going to affect the online sales of drones. I wonder if this can quickly go into effect. If you're trying to order a drone today, let me know. I'd be curious to see. A ban on the sale of drones and parts and affecting those drones from outside of the country. Curious to see where that goes. The other story that I mentioned earlier, when we talked about, there goes my microphone again. We talked about the universities and how the universities have become liberal indoctrination factories. The New York Post has a story that nearly 30 of the undergrad departments at Yale have absolutely zero Republican faculty members. 30. This is from the Buckley Institute, and they looked into the makeup of the faculty at the Ivy League schools, specifically at Yale University. Third year in a row that Buckley has found that there are zero, not one, zip, zilch, nada, Republican faculty members across the 27 departments of undergraduate schools at Yale University. So how is that considered a balanced education? It's not. It shows you there is a giant gap in what is being taught. And in places all over. Now, Buckley has been looking at Yale's undergrad departments, as I said, for years, as well as its School of Management, its law school. 83% of the faculty are registered Democrats or primarily support Democrat candidates. 15% are independents. So that means fewer than 3%. Fewer than 3% of the faculty at Yale are on the conservative side of things. So choose wisely when you're going to put your money into educating kids. I mentioned also before the break, I had some thoughts on Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene, interestingly enough, with her departure from Congress coming up, she's going to be leaving in the new year. I think her last day is either January 5th or January 6th. So she'll be out. Yes, she will qualify for a pension, but she's not doing this to get a pension. If you look at what her pension will be, first of all, I don't think she is eligible to receive the pension for another 12 or more years. So it's not like she's doing this to get a bunch of money. And then at the same time, the amount of the pension is minuscule. I believe it's less than $7,000 a year. So she's not going to be living the life of luxury. Marjorie Taylor Greene is well off, but it's not from stock trading. It's from being a person who inherited a family business that she kept alive. So she's not a grifter. She's not a stock trader like Nancy Pelosi. She is someone who actually had a business, worked in business, had a successful business. She'll probably go back to it. Maybe she'll get a career in media. Who knows? I found her to be brash, but I also found her to be a good supporter of the president when he needed it, and I don't think her seat is in danger of being lost. So I think that's a good thing. And on that very same topic, you're not hearing this on the left side of the mainstream media. You're not hearing this at all, because all we keep hearing is the midterms are going to be horrible. Look at all the elections since the election. Well, there was a special election in South Carolina for a Republican state seat in the House. And Republican John Lastinger won the special election for South Carolina State House seat that was vacated by another Republican. And the longtime pastor, John Lastinger, easily beat a Democrat who was a retired military member, a retired Army colonel, Chuck Hightower. And it wasn't even close. It was 62% to 37%. So for all the people who are saying, well, watch out, all these elections, Republicans aren't doing anything. No, this is an easy win. So in typically Republican strongholds, I feel like we're in good shape going forward into next year, especially into the midterms. But the midterms are going to be a risk unless we get the economy on track. We get the economy on track and everything goes. I think President Trump will be in a good place to have the Republicans hold the House and maybe even increase the lead in the Senate. So much more I want to get to. I got a couple more clips I want to share with you, but I see the phones are lighting up, 888-630-9625. Let's talk to Terry in Herndon, Virginia. Hello, Terry. Welcome to the Chris Plante Show.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. I just want to do a little public service announcement here. I am an insurance agent, and for all of you folks out there that are operating what we call in our business unmanned aircraft, a.k.a. drones, there's about a 100% chance you have no insurance for that unless you go buy it. You can probably get it added to your homeowner's policy, but don't assume that you have it. So when your drone crashes into my kid and I sue you, yeah, you might want the insurance.
Wow, this is interesting. This is a whole new area of insurance, is it not? I had never thought about drone insurance. Have you had claims that you processed?
Yes, and it's always a surprise to my clients when they find out they're not covered. It's impossible really to notify everybody. The insurance company probably stuck some little flyer in something they sent to you, 2 or 3 years ago. That was your notice. So I share that. I know a lot of folks are flying drones for various different reasons, and you should double check that if you care.
Wow, is it a big add-on to it, or should I just look at an umbrella?
Yeah, well, the umbrella probably isn't going to cover it unless the homeowners covers it first. So I would just call your agent and ask them. I mean, the coverage is out there. It's not particularly expensive, but it's just not automatic.
It's expensive if you don't have it, right? That's usually the way that works.
It can be, yes. That is correct.
That's why I had never thought about the drone coverage on my insurance. Now I will be making a phone call because I am regularly walking the golf course with my little drone following me around. And I know that one of my group, if they get hit, will say, "Hey, your drone hurt me." So I need coverage. Thank you, Terry. That's a great tip. We appreciate that. Who knew? Drone coverage. I need drone coverage. And it's an entirely new area of insurance that's coming up. Yesterday, we played you a clip early in the program when the hour starts. Michael Piercy always plays these wonderful clips that have ridiculous moments from people, and then we have fun with them. And one yesterday was Jasmine Crockett talking about how authentic she is. And it was kind of interesting because on the heels of Jasmine Crockett talking about her authenticity, there was a montage put together to highlight the difference of Jasmine Crockett when she is authentic and inauthentic. And I had to share it with you.
And that is actually what they are fearful of, is my authenticity, because it rings true with every single American. No one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress.
So that's her without her accent. That's normal Jasmine Crockett, right? Yeah, she sounds like she just came out of a regular language university speaking program, and now she's in front of people and bends her accent to her audience.
Baby, because these people, they are crazy, because they always talk about how Christian they is. Yeah, I don't know how many of them on that side are getting divorced because they getting caught up sleeping with their co-workers, staffers, interns, all the things.
On campus.
So, she's got an accent. It reminds me of Hillary Clinton, and every politician needs to be wary of this. But then she moves from they be sleeping with the workers to this.
On campus mailboxes. And at that time, my school hired the Cochran firm. And there was a lawyer who graduated from the University of Houston who was assigned to me.
You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
I want the American people to know that when you stand up to a bully, you win. Do not back down. Do not bend.
And I'm going to be the first one. You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out, all right?
But at the end of the day, I am who I am, and I am authentic.
You certainly are. You're an authentic phony. I can't wait for her campaign in Texas. It's going to be fun. All right, I'm taking a break. When we come back, we'll put a bow on the show and get going with Christmas Eve. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant. If you got a final thought, you're welcome to share it with us. 888-630-9625. 888-630-9625. It is the Chris Plant Show. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Yeah, it is the Christmas Eve program on the Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for my friend Chris Plant. I hope you and yours are going to have a great holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, I hope it's a blessed Christmas for you and yours. whether you do the Christmas Eve gift exchange or the Christmas Day. We do a little bit of both in our house, so it's always fun. But I hope you have a great Christmas. We do live in the greatest country on the planet. And I know that because 99% of the people out there would give up everything they have to come here and trade places with all of you. I worry about some parts of it. I do worry about some parts. Yesterday, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson refused to sign the $16.6 billion budget that the Chicago City Council passed because his corporate head tax didn't make the cut. And, of course, it's Donald Trump's fault. Everything's Donald Trump's fault when you're the mayor of Chicago. I'm sorry, Chicago, my old hometown. I love you, but I don't like you very much right now. This mayor is just, I think, a real problem. A corporate head tax. Drive more companies out of the city and blame the federal government for the budget deficit problems you have. The people are waking up, though. I think that's good. There may be an opportunity coming up in February 23rd of 2027 to change things in Chicago, but you have to survive until that time. You have to get through the madness until that time. Hang in there. Hang on. The other story that we didn't get to because it's kind of visual and hard to break it down without the visual aspect. The Epstein dump yesterday and the redactions, some of the files that have the black lines through them, if you copy the text and then paste it into another text program, the redactions disappear. The Epstein files aren't really fully redacted. Now, not all of them, but a huge portion of them where you see the black lines covering the names, you can actually get past the black bars, and someone has actually taken it and done the whole file and put it through ChatGPT, showing what was redacted, what it actually says, and what it implicates. I'll post a link to that piece on my social media. You go have a great holiday. Thank you to Jasmine on the phones. Thank you to everybody listening. Thank you to Michael Piercy and, of course, Chris Plant. Till next time, Merry Christmas. Michael Pelka reminding you, testudo, my friends. Testudo.